Hey YouTube, this is going to be Glock 43 LC9s Pro Part 2, I guess you could say. Mainly, I want to talk about the Glock 43. Both these firearms are empty. Mag is empty. Chamber is empty. Mag's empty. Now, Glock 43. I'm trying to like it. I really am. I installed this Ghost Edge trigger connector about 30 minutes ago. I took it out here and shot 50 rounds through it, 50 of my reloads. No malfunctions, which I expected that. The trigger is much improved, but it's still coming in around 5.5 pounds. Now, I'm using this Wheeler plastic trigger pull scale, and I know this is not the benchmark for precise instrumentation, but it'll at least tell me that I've lowered this trigger pull by 2 pounds with this connector. But it's still heavy, and I would say it is close to 5.5. The old Ruger LC9s still coming in about 3.5. No work needed. This pin on this Glock was a bear to get out. It was the hardest one I've ever messed with. It's basically the same as a regular Glock on the inside. This slide stop's a little different. The trigger springs are a little bit different. The connectors pretty much looks the same, it's just shorter. But overall it wasn't bad other than getting this pin out. But I polished the trigger parts and put the new connector in just like normally do. And it improved the trigger drastically. But it's still not up there with the Ruger. But in my 50 rounds, I was shooting it much better than I have previously. And that's all due to the trigger. That puts me up to probably 300 rounds. I have it wrote down. I believe that's 300 rounds through this Glock 43, and I'm not gonna make a decision on it until I hit 500 rounds. Now, I've had no malfunctions, and 250 of those 300 rounds have been my reloads. Have a little over 600. Well, I have exactly 625 rounds, I believe, through this LC9s Pro. 600 full metal jackets and 25 factory loaded hollow points. I haven't shot any of my homegrown hollow points out of either one of them yet. But it also has no malfunctions, and its trigger needs no work. But the Glock is starting to grow on me a little. I'm a Glock fan. I have another video. I have several Glocks, and that's the main reason I'm being so patient with it. And I'm going to go on and give it the 500 round test before I decide which one of these I'm going to get rid of. And I may keep them both. They're certainly not eating anything. They're not costing me anything. I'm about to pull the trigger, if you will, on a Beretta Nano. I've been wanting to try that. I've never shot one. I've watched several videos on them. Some of the early ones, it seems like they might have had some problems, but I'm not going to put too much stock into what I see on YouTube, and I don't recommend that you do either. I'm going to go get one, and I'm going to try it for myself and see what kind of luck I have with it. I really am a fan of Beretta, and I like the way the gun looks. I like how it has no external controls on the side. I pretty much want to give it a try just to see, make my own opinion. Now, I've watched other people's videos. There's only a few that I would trust to take their word for it. Maybe Hickok 45 or Pete from the Armory channel. They are my two favorite firearms channels. I watch Pete from the Armory channel. He has a Glock 43. I don't believe he has ever done any videos on the Nano. And Hickok, he has. So I'm going to go on and pick one up, and I may or may not get rid of the loser of this shootout between these two. And as of right now, the Ruger is still ahead of this game. The Glock is only still in this game because I'm a Glock fan, and I'm going to give this Glock the benefit of every doubt. I'm going to put the trigger in it. I'm going to polish the trigger parts. I'm going to do everything that I have not had to do to this Ruger. Now, I know that sounds ridiculous, and that I ought to just go with the Ruger, and I may end up doing so. But I really want this Glock 43 to work out, because I like everything about it. I like the way it feels in my hand. I like the way it shoots. I wish it had the extra round in the magazine, but that's just something I can learn to live with. I hope the Beretta will come in and blow both of these away, and it'll be my single stack 9mm of choice. And that's mainly just for a summer gun. In the wintertime, when you're wearing a jacket, heavy clothes, it'll be pretty much the Glock 30S or the Glock 26 all the time. But in the summer, I like these small, slim, single stack 9mm. So that's just a quick update. The Glock is still in the fight. I'm having to do a little work on it. It's in the corner with its eye busted, and I'm patching it up and throwing it back in the ring. But the Ruger is still on top of the fight right now. And who knows, I may just keep them both and get the Beretta and have a three-way comparison. And I will do a video on the Beretta once I get it, and once I get at least 200 rounds through it. I'm not one to do an unboxing video or to do a review on a gun right when I get it home and open it up. I'm going to put at least 200 rounds through any firearm before I make a video on it. Because I know 3, 4, maybe even 5 people will watch these videos, and somebody may make it all the way to the end of one before turning it off or falling asleep. But stay tuned for the final comparison between the Glock 43 and the Ruger LC9s Pro. And I'm stressing that Pro because the non-Pro is a non-gun. The Glock is the Glock. There's only one option. You get a Glock 43, you got a Glock 43. You go ask for a Ruger LC9, you can get a piece of crap. Or you can ask for the LC9s and get a better one, but you're still going to have the mag, disconnect, and the safety. So if you want one that compares in any way to the Glock, you're going to have to get the LC9s Pro. If they improve this one, I guess the name will be so long they'll have to stamp it on both sides of the slide, because there's not going to be room on this one side for all of that. But I don't see anything else on this one that needs to be improved, except maybe throw an extra round in that fine cardboard box you're packaging it in. That would be helpful. But other than that, the Ruger is still leading the race. The Glock is still in the race, simply because it's a Glock, and I'm giving it every benefit of the doubt and every bit of love I can give it. I'm not going to add any more parts to it. I'm going to shoot a couple hundred more rounds through it. Then I'm going to take them both out at the same time, put 100 through each, and that's when I'll make my decision on which one stays, which one goes on arms list, or who knows, maybe they both stay. Maybe the Beretta will come in here and kick the crap out of both of them, and both of them end up on arms list. Who knows? But we're going to find out, and we're going to find out pretty doggone quick. Thank you very much for watching.